Alright, guys. Happy 4th of July. So, I have a couple of hours before I have to go. Because I have a cookout over here. So, lunchtime. But I'm sure, you guys are enjoying your family, I hope. But anyway, happy 4th of July. I wasn't able to come out yesterday, so I thought today might be the day to do this. Nothing pressing to talk about at the moment. Hey, what's up, Matt? Thank you, thank you. Appreciate you coming in. And yes, happy 4th, happy 4th. May the 4th be with you. I know, I say that every year. People. It's kind of annoying actually when I hear it from people, but yeah, I do that. Mm. I mean, not annoying, of course. It's fun to celebrate, the Independence Day and all that stuff. But yeah, hopefully people will be enjoying fireworks today. I know some of my friends went. Well, my coworker gonna go enjoy some of those fireworks. Um, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Hi, Kai Supreme. What's up? What's up? Thank you. Thank you. Hold on, you guys. Like, I don't have too much to talk about here. I kind of want to talk about inflation though, because I think that's such a topic to free people, of this the shackle of inflation. um, I think it's fitting to talk about it, but for now, I really think again the doom and gloom. I'm not saying it's gonna happen immediately. Obviously, inflation is such a complex topic to even touch because it's meant to be complicated so that you don't figure it out what's the scheme is, right? And I really think if you understand it to the level, if you know the truth, right? But again, like there are people who say like, well, who created Bitcoin? We don't know who created Bitcoin. So that's the type of fear that people are, having surrounding Bitcoin. So that's why, again, people would always say, well, if it's so great, why not everybody using it? Well, because of the fear associated with it. The same way with buying gold. People know that gold is more valuable than anything. Why are they not buying it? Why not? Why are they not storing their wealth in gold? Well, because there's fear associated with that. A fear of being broken to and then robbed at gunpoint. So that's that's one fear. And as society, we have this. Um, I don't know. I just feel like people adopt a certain idea and then they run with it, and they just never question that idea because it works for them at that moment. That doesn't mean that it's good for their well-being or anything. It's just that it's comfortable for them to believe that narrative. And so again, at a certain point, you need to reassess of what you're believing in. And so that's what I always try to do for myself, my own self. Okay, again, reflection is good for you from time to time. Okay, not to say don't change your mind or change your mind with the intention of at least look into the evidence first before you come up with the conclusion that you have. No, I realize like with this day and age, right? You never know what the real information is because people are just bombarding you with a lot of info. And so the best thing you could do for yourself is to at least, trust the source, whatever source you got from, if you think that Bitcoin is a scam, I'm hoping that the person that tells you it is a scam, know what they're talking about. Okay. So that's just my thought. Again, like I'm not a technical person, like in terms of coding and all that stuff. So I don't know how to read the code to know that, hey, this is actually a good one. I wish, I'm just trusting all of the people that comes before me to know what Bitcoin is, to audit the code and to be able to kind of, give you a better understanding of Bitcoin. I'm sure if you want to learn all of that, there's no shortage of content that you want, that you would, be able to see if you want to be that technical. That's why I'm borderline wanting to befriend somebody who knows how to code, and then just to see how they feel about Bitcoin coding and all that stuff. So, like, to look into it, is it like that amazing? I mean, the fact that it's been around for what, more than 20 years, right? No, actually, 2009. Yeah, close to 20 years. And nobody has been able to hack any wallet, except that if you leave your seed phrase out there, on your computer. Yes, people could break into your computer to get into the seed phrase, and then open your wallet that way. But so far as like somebody who brute force, hacking into your wallet because they saw that public wallet, you cannot, right? Because the ledger is like distributed to the whole world, whoever mined the thing, right? So it's very difficult to attack the network that way. So no matter what, you have that verification there. But anyway, why am I talking about all this? You know what? I think I'm just stalling to see how many people are coming in. But yeah, I'm sure a few of you are here already. So, all right, thank you so much for joining. I know. Okay, let me see. So let's talk about the price action. Of course, it's pretty dull. I know, right? Very expected, because short week, easy, low volume, easy to manipulate. So how long it's going to be this way, I don't know. Like, your guess is just as good as mine. If you look at the price right here, it seems like it's kind of wanting to do this little breakthrough right there. So we are kind of breaking through that trend line. So my thought is that they're gonna try to gap down. Okay. So the same way as this one right here. Again, doesn't mean that it's gonna do that. Don't trade based on this at all, you guys. I'm telling you. It's pretty apparent, in my opinion, that they're gonna try to do one of these numbers here. But again, the fallacy is that you want to take people out too. So if, again, depends on how many people making those directional bet, right? Based on the option chain, or how many people are likely to sell at this price, thinking that the stock's not doing much and all that stuff, the company's not doing much. Remember, this is a psychological game here. Okay, if you want to play that, know what they're trying to do here, or at least they're trying to get you to do. Of course, they try to get you to think that it's going to come down. Just the moment in which you think it's going to come down, they could just send it the other way too. So and again, that's why I feel like sometimes they wait for people to make the bet and then they just do the opposite. Okay, so while you're making bets here and there, unless you have a directional whale who wants to send it higher, you will never ever get it right as a retailer. Okay, so all these weekly call options and all that stuff is going to be decimated. Okay. And even the monthly one too, right? So you're not doing your best to at least understand that from that level. So for yesterday, 45%. So at least it's not 60. But still, though, if you look at the volume, like over 1 million shares is being shorted, and sent to the dark pool here. So if you look at the exchange here, no historical option exchange volume. There we go. So see, more than 50% go off exchange. It's pretty normal in this company. Obviously, normal as in like, hey, this is standard operation here to keep the price uninterested to the naked eye. Okay. So, again, if you focus on the fundamental, there's nothing to worry about here at all. Because not only that we have a pile of cash to fall back on, it's a safety net that you cannot even touch. Yes, that cash is going to be sitting there earning yield at 5%. Of course, I would love more, obviously, because I'm of the opinion that it's the inflation is more than 2% for sure. Probably well over 7%. So again, that's just based on the math within this 20 years time frame here. I recently listened to an interview that really talks about that. So that's why I was like top of mind. Inflation is a killer, a silent killer for sure for the middle class. In a minute, I'm gonna do that. Hold on. So let me see. Option chain, nothing to see here. Of course, this is 11. So it would not surprise me at all if the max pain is going to be it's going to end in max pain at some point. So the 23s here and there, but remember, it's going to stay in max pain for forever until it's not. I'm not saying it's going to be stuck here forever. Remember, at one point, max pain was at $12 a share. Okay. So that doesn't mean that it's not going to change. It's just that when they are ready to send the price up, right, you might not know when that is. You better be prepared for that. And no matter what they're doing here, again, you cannot change anything on the fundamental level of understanding. Fundamental will still be there, again, if they are successfully gapping this price down to this extent, right? I wouldn't put it past them to do this one more time. Gap down. With this big, beautiful bill, right, that is passing right now, what would they, I wouldn't put it past them to try to scare people, saying that, hey, the market is crashing because this is terrible for the debt crisis, and try to, drop the market really low before they send it higher again. How low is it going to go? I don't know. It depends on Jerome too, right? If Jerome's gonna, lower the rate at some point, that is going to send the market eventually higher, because people would be like, Well, all I have to do is just wait for, Jerome Powell to get out of the White House. I mean, White House, of the chairman position. And it's only going to be like, what, a year? So what these people would do is that, well, all I have to do is just borrow more money, and then lever up again. So that's why we get into this mess in the first place, is because people just keep borrowing, and if you know Wall Street, right, they lever up to the tilt already, 10 to 1, 20 to 1 at some point, because they know that, hey, government will have to print in order to, prop up the market, and they never gonna catch on to, the scheme, until it's implode on its own, on its own weight. So seemingly this is the point of no return. Even if they're trying to cut, they cannot cut without, devastating the economy. Of course, they're trying to cut the Medicaid, aspect of it with this bill, and it's already passed. So, I mean, the damage has already been in motion. So yeah, Bitcoin's gonna go higher in price. But that's not to say the short-term price fluctuation is what scare people. And if you're not ready for this downturn, right, you're gonna freak out. You're gonna not know what to do, and so that's why having an emergency fund for at least a year, you would be fine. Like, don't go to debt in order to, do something. Because if you lever up and then you need to pay them back or pay whoever, you're going to debt for, you are more likely to be forced to sell at a loss. You don't want that, And so, make sure, you still have your job. If you are losing your job, try to tighten your belt as much as you can. I know it sucks. It sucks that, the people who have asset, people who have equity is going to do quite well. And so, yeah, or any type of unprintable asset. So yeah, gold's going to continue to go higher. Housing's going to continue to go higher. Although housing now, I feel like with the invention of Bitcoin and now the highly adopted, like feasibility, transportability of Bitcoin, tradability, right? You could trade at any time, 24/7. I think it's going to really get people more aware of it more and more. It used to be 5%, 5% of population own Bitcoin. Now I think it's creeping up to 14%. Okay, so you're still early. You're still the top 14% of population who actually know about Bitcoin, right? Now for Jimmy, it's a little bit different, right? Who knows? Like, I don't know how many percentage of population actually own Jimmy here, but I could only assume now. How many population would would actually know that this company is about to, do any transitions and all that stuff? So I would wager, would be less than 5% of people would actually believe in this company's transformation successful. But again, that's just me, speculating on the amount of people who actually own this thing in their portfolio. But I think that's to say that we're the top 1% for sure. Yeah. Eventually. Right now, people are still, on the fence. They don't know what's going on. because they believe in the narrative of the articles out there yet. And so they will be able to keep this under wrap until you know they get the maximum amount of people worried, scared, bored, um, uninterested in this, for an extended period of time. Yeah, whatever it is. So for you to stand to the test of time, you have to be patient. Again, that's why Warren Buffett keeps saying, um, if you study the fundamental, the price comes down. What happened? Do you feel like the market maker or whoever try to convince you that this is the worth of the company, and you believe that, you sell at a loss because it's lower than you, right? Two insider bought. Oh, when? Is it more than who else? I thought I saw one a couple of days ago. James something. Who else bought? I Is it recently? Let me double check. Um, anyway, I lost my train of thought. Got distracted by insider buyer. Okay, so who's buying? Is it most recently? What happened? Hey, Woken Sheep, what's up? What's up? Happy 4th of July. I don't see anything, Guy Rosen. I saw the James guy. James something something. Not yet. I don't see anything. Yeah, I don't. Anyway, go back to my original thought here. So yeah, so they will try to convince people, as many as possibly, through price action. Okay, and if they're able to do this for close to 5 years now, you think they're not gonna able to do it more and more? Of course, they're gonna draw it out in you. But anyway, so with Warren Buffett idea, right? If you really study it, um, like if you think that the market knows more about the company that you investing in more, then yeah, go ahead sell. I mean, you think the market is right? More than you know about the company that you invest in, and so you have no reason to hold that onto that stock, because no matter what, you're gonna sell at the wrong time and buy at the wrong time, right? The idea is to know about the company and invest according to your own conviction. Okay. Yes, some conviction are unfounded, because or shouldn't have conviction on some of the stock. But if you believe in that narrative, right, of course you are going to live and die by that in decision. Okay. So better make it the right one. um, Now I know people, uh, like the big guys out there. They like to scare people, um, and people have their own way of investing for sure. I have my own. I'm sure, like if you put two people in the room together, they don't have um, the same experience, the same risk tolerance, the same everything to be able to make the same decision, right? And so, just understand that, like, markets have so many people to participate, and you have to learn to navigate that. So With that being said, though, okay, I'm not here like just to say, oh, it's gonna come down here. It could. Like I said, if people are panicking, right, they would do some stupid thing all the time, right? And just like when Bitcoin was dropping down to like $3,000, and just 8 years ago, people were freaking out and sold Bitcoin at $3,000. Can you imagine that? I remember seeing it at $6,000. And what did I say? What did I do? I had the ability to buy a whole Bitcoin at that time. So knowing what Bitcoin was at the time, right, I still was fearful of, oh, what if it comes down even harder, right? Little did I know that the network is going to be stronger. So had I had the knowledge that I have today, I would have been like, oh, of course, one Bitcoin is so, like, this is like a steal, $6,000 a coin. But yeah, of course, life doesn't work that way. I get it. And so to me, I missed that opportunity. And so when I see stuff like this, I told myself I will never miss this opportunity ever to hold it for the long haul, to, at least develop my strategy this way. Now, on the flip side to that too, right? When the share price goes higher, unless you sell, you're not gonna realize the gain. Okay. Now, at the time, I was in, right, and my network, network. At the time when GME do this thing right here, I didn't sell my whole position, right? I sold my sister's portion, which again, it was an emergency, and it's her money, right? So I can't, stop her from selling. But at the time, she was able to get it at this price right here, which I'm so happy for her. Um, and so, at that price, I try to, at least get her the top. I mean, she need the money that at the right time. Man, had and what's lucky for her too, because when she had the money, it was at around here, so she bought at a right time too. So again, opportunity is everywhere. My point is that, when you think you have the opportunity to buy, to sell, or whatever, right? Hopefully that time, that opportunity comes to you, and you make the right choice, for yourself. For me at the time, I did not need the money. I was waiting on the big one. Okay. And so that's why I developed my strategy now, is that, okay, had I sell some, would it been a smart thing to do? Yeah, smart for that particular time, but how would I know it's not gonna go up here, right? To the other opposite direction. So with just that little tiny hope that it's gonna come to the, this level, it would never, right? That's what people would love you to think. It would never go to that. Never. Anytime when they say like never ever, you need some room to think otherwise. I think, if there's a chance for this to happen, of course it's going to happen again. It might take some more time, some more pressure, some more, catalysts, that are big enough for this institution to jump in. Don't be mistaken, they're not. No, they're accumulating it at this base right now. And you know how I know? It's because let's see. It's because the convertible note. Right? Remember, if they don't have the deal lined up, they wouldn't have this notes drafting up right now, right? So somebody bought it in the institutional level here, and it might just be one person, okay, or one entity, one, you know, uh, privately, you know, firm who really believe in the long-term longevity of this company, right? Maybe they don't believe in the short squeeze either. They just believe, okay, yeah, in 5 years they might be able to do much more than it is, and I'm willing to give them this much in order to, do whatever they need to do in order to bring up the share price for more than what we're paying for here. And on top of that, they have the security, okay, the I guess the stability in the way in which they are thinking that the company will last that long, 7 years. At the very least, they're gonna get their money back. Okay, if let's say leadership is unable to grow the company above $30 a share, the conversion price, then they will be able to get their money back in 7 years. For this one, of course, the term is a little bit shorter. So the next one, obviously, with this vote of confidence from someone, okay, it's going to snowball into someone else who might think, okay, I mean, if you think $2 or $3 billion, then I'm gonna give you $4 billion, at this price. I'm hoping that they're able to set their own price though, because again, if the market maker is able to, control the price that way, I don't see why we can't, set our own price here for the next convertible notes. It might be a better strategy too, because then, you let the bond market traders out there, the ARB desks or whatever, they would price the bond accordingly, based on the demand of that particular convertible price range. And I mean, whatever leadership do, I mean, I'm sure they do it for a reason, and perhaps again, because $30 is seemingly low to us right now, because we wouldn't be selling at $30 a share, and so that's why perhaps all of the shorters are not really scared too much right now, because they're like, okay, if leadership is thinking that it's only worth $30, then okay, I'm willing to short it under 30. Something like that, right? And so they're logically, thinking that they have more time before they have to close their position here. Yeah, that dynamic could also happen too. And remember, they have all of the data in the world to try to figure out, how to get out of this alive. Okay, they're figuring it out right now. So maybe this is one of them, right? To be able to release some of the pressure. In order for retail to win, they have to, understand these dynamic here, to not be so emotionally tied to the price action, day-to-day price action. So, but also too, the frustration here is that, if you've been here for quite some time, like I get it. My cost average is up here somewhere. There, you guys, $30. So I'm technically in the red, okay? But I'm not scared at all, okay, to for this company to do its thing in the future. Because when I bought into it, I know that it was valuable. Remember, when I bought into it, my equity per share is way, 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 way lower than this, and I paid, a whole bunch of money to get to that, right, per share here. Versus somebody who bought here, of course, if you bought here, you made it, right? It means that every shares that you bought here is now more than 100% equity per share because of this dilution here. Okay. So again, dilution doesn't mean bad. It depends on what leadership is doing with that dilution. Okay. The dilution that AMC does, look at it. So that's that's the comparison that you need to do. Every time AMC leadership dilute, they use that to, I guess, do the operational costs because they have way too much expenses and their debt interest alone, okay, their debt interest alone is more than what they make every single year. So that's what crippling them. It's not so much so that, yes, theater could make money, like Cinemark makes money because they don't have that massive amount of interest payment in order to, kind of shackle them. Like it's like a ball chain here. If you have debt, right, that's the whole point is that debt kind of impede on your future earnings so much. Now, on the flip side, GME has a compounded interest on the other side, a good side, because now you have cash. So you could just sit on cash and then acquire interest. Even though it's lower than the inflation, it is still an immense help in the future because that's compounded over the years. Okay. So the money that you earned from the interest is going to compounding towards, at least you will be staying afloat just to have cash on hand to do something, right? Now, eventually, I'm sure, they're going to deploy that cash. I really think that they are waiting for something, some opportunity here, that we're not in the rush. We are, doing things above board, and even yes, there's some bets here and there, like Bitcoin here and there, is going to do wonder here if Bitcoin were to get into $1 million a coin. Okay, so in which case we have some exposure to that. So okay, anyway, so let's run through this real quick because I know maybe like a few people who are new to here. Taking all extra shift I can get some more money for Jimmy. Of course, that's great. Yeah, I mean, if you're able to do that, that would be great. Like I thought about doing some extra shift too, but my work doesn't allow me to. But now that there's no tax on some of the tip, apparently there's a cap on how much you could get tax free on tips and all that stuff or overtime. So this would be the best opportunity for people to do that. You have to think like outside the box sometime too, in order to, get to that quote unquote comfortable stage of life. So I'm pretty lucky enough that I don't have much expenses at the moment. My expense pretty low, much like the GME balance sheet here. Keep the expenses low. Income, again, my income is not that high, but I don't have to break my neck in order to get to where I want to go. So it's pretty nice to be able to relax that way. Again, I'm not saying that I'm swimming in cash either. You guys, like, don't be crazy here. just got lucky enough to be able to take advantage of the crypto run in the earlier cycle. But again, I'm still working towards that financial independence as well, just like what Jimmy is trying to do right now. But yeah, so I have my strategy going on here. I know I move a little bit different slots here, but just again to keep me interested in this company and keep it covering and hopefully kind of expose some more people into how great the company is and yeah, change. I mean, I feel like with this AI thing, right? I want to add my thoughts and my take about GME onto the psyche of the AI, right? I'm sure they're gonna use this data somehow to train the next model to look into, okay, how did the early people who got into GameStop saw it coming? So again, that's why I'm doing what I do. It's more so about the AI evolution here. Not to say who cares about what I say, right? But AI might. That's why, yeah. Keep in mind. Um. So okay, my thought is okay. Let me just hold this forever until the end of time. Who knows? I don't care if it goes up to $1 million a coin or a share. Who knows? I will hold that forever until the end of time. Yes, I will take advantage of the share price if and only if it goes to 1,000. So I won't sell this much. I mean, I won't sell these until this happens. And I truly believe that eventually it's going to go to that, right? So that, again, might take 10 years from now. Who knows, right? 10 years. I mean, like I said, when I got into GME, right, I told myself I'm going to hold 10 years. So technically, I have about 6 more years to go. Okay. So Ryan has 6 more years to prove me wrong about the direction of this company. And so that's going to come naturally, the S&P 500 and all that stuff. Remember, now they are also raising the requirement to be the S&P, to be in the S&P 500. Okay, so they raised the requirement to $22 billion. Remember, it used to be $20 billion. So now they raised it to 22. Does it have to be, it has to do with GME? I feel like so. GME is the center of the universe for sure. Now, can we hit that? Of course, at some point in that time frame. I think within 2 years we could get to that point. So, because especially with this net income here, it's going to be even above for actually let me, you know what, I feel like I have to raise this because again, just the interest on the $8 billion alone, right, it's going to give us close to $400 million a year. And then on top of that, the operational, the underlying business. I know people would love to tell you that it doesn't give you any, that the company doesn't make money. That's a lie. Go look it up for yourself if you don't believe me. I'm not trying to make any, number up here. This is all recent publicly available information here. Okay. And so, yeah, go search it for yourself. Anyway, so yeah, so that's my strategy. And of course, like this is some amount in which I will, trade. And this is again in my Roth IRA, obviously. So it's going to not be taxable events because if you trade in your Roth, until you withdraw, you're not gonna be taxed there. So again, that's why I try to at least gain some of that. On my trading account though, I have more crypto and all of that stuff. That's my root. So I have to go back to my roots for quite a bit until the cycle is kind of play out. Of course, my expectation is that the um, the fact that the regulation is cleared up right now. I think the opportunity there is uh, much more explosive. Yes, it's slow. Yeah, people are taking their time to get the regulation roll out on the crypto side, and XRP is setting up for a bank charter, so that was a good news there. So again, slowly, it's kind of come together here, and it seems like that's the direction in which they want it to go. And it seems like it's a planned event here for decades and decades before that, to where they are moving to the deflationary, asset in which, whoever, um, come to that conclusion first is going to be the richest, right? So the company that hold Bitcoin will be the richest to the company that doesn't have Bitcoin. Okay. Who knows? Who knows, right? This could be all a dream at the moment. But anyway, so I was kind of making this little portion here just to keep track of how much money we actually have. Maybe let me total this up here. Because I feel like with that we could, have an idea. So that's the total cash plus Bitcoin, should say. 1 second here. I don't want to fumble. Hold on. What is this? Perfect. So with this, I feel, oops. Okay. So yeah, currently we have, $8 billion, close to $8 billion there, with all of the, again, this is just cash with the ATM from the convertible bond, and then this is the holding at the current price of Bitcoin at the moment. Okay, so this will fluctuate for sure. We'll keep track of that. For now, you could say that we have $8 billion, and all of that went into a fund in which they're able to earn 4.75%, at the current rate. So with that math, right, of course, that's going to give the company more value into that, you know. What else? What else? Yeah, for now, I'm just going to still stick with this approach. I know, with this traded amount, I don't want to trade it in and out if I don't have to, unless I see the opportunity elsewhere real quick. And then typically what I do is like, I keep track of um, the crypto markets, because I follow XRP pretty closely, and even Bitcoin too, just to see the movement. Now, just to be clear, I don't have many Bitcoin. I do have some, but not, I have more XRP and all that stuff. So again, just thinking that it's going to return more in terms of percentage at some point. Currently, yes, if you have altcoin, right, you are down like 10%, 15% compared to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is taking that dominance price action here. But when the Bitcoin dominance goes down, what happened? We typically wants to go back into altcoin, and again, that's why you see the hype coming up. Right now, everybody is doom and gloom. Think about that, right? So that's not a market top. typically when people are enthusiastic about something, that's when you're supposed to be selling. Okay. So the fear and gauge, right? Fear and greed cycle is going to be in any type of asset class, you guys. So even in GME too, right? When people are pessimistic about this company right now, this is the best time to buy, you guys. I tell you. You look at the fear. Oh man, oh, it's coming down here, never gonna come back. Oh my gosh, right? So if you gauge that fear, right? Yes, it sucks that if it comes down here, your current portfolio is gonna not look great. However, the price point is so enticing for the next, either institution, insider, or whoever, wants to take advantage of this fear in the market and scoop GME at a very low price and then wait, until it goes back up, right? And you're gonna hear a lot of negativity associated with either Bitcoin, either crypto. Oh, it will never gonna happen. Look, the price is down 20-30% down, 40% down. Don't believe in this, hype. All kinds of stuff. Okay, they do that with XRP. They do that with Bitcoin. Remember, Bitcoin used to be a scam. Bitcoin used to be a scam. Don't buy it. It's a poison. It's a rat poison. It's whatever. Okay. It's unsafe. Oh, quantum computer is going to figure out and steal all your Bitcoin. Did it ever happen? Not really. Right. So, hey, Johnny, do you think Ryan Cohen will try to buy more Bitcoin? I think so, but he's going to be so slow. He's going to be very slow. Or his strategy is not to do something so that he could keep the price of GME as low as possible, and then when it times to blow, these shorters out, it's undeniable. They can't stop it, right? So maybe that's the whole game here, or he just doesn't have anything, opportunity, to buy into any other things. So the surprise here is it's palpable, right? I think that's why he's not telegraphed his plan, because not only, yes, here's what I think about Ryan Cohen, running this company. He is very stealth, but deadly, okay? Because not only that he's able to deliver in terms of like operational wise here, I'm talking about like just, the e-commerce, the pivot, the collectible, relentlessly trying to get people on to the store, right? To shop, to buy, to engage. Everything that you should be doing as a CEO in the e-commerce side, he did it, right? And he did it much to, to everyone's dismay. Okay, he doesn't care about you. Like he knows what he's doing, and he's trying to navigate that world, and that's what he's good at, right? But not only that, of course, he's also, I'm sure, aware of a lot of, trading tricks and tips in here and there, right? And I'm sure he has a team that, that take care of the, company asset as his own, because it is his money, right? 8% of it is his money, and he takes, those fiduciary responsibility very seriously. So with that being said, I don't think he's going to make any drastic decision to buy all into Bitcoin here, because, yes, although that would make Bitcoiner heads explode, right? Is it really safe for the company's balance sheet, though? Like in the long run, unless you're really like highly convicted on Bitcoin network and all that stuff, like Michael Saylor does. I don't think he's gonna do that, right? And yes, it's going to frustrate so many people, and then it's going to kind of artificially keeping the price of GME kind of low. because of that frustration. I see both sides here. Okay. But that's good for people who truly believe in GME as well. That, hey, when people are so against something, the pressure is building there, where people are like, oh yeah, this company's not gonna do shit. And then, it just takes one catalyst for people to be like, oh, what? They post how much money? They have how much money? Why am I not hearing about this? The same way with Bitcoin, you guys. Like, it takes so much effort to try to convince people, like, hey, this is good for you. And even if they learn about it, you know what happened to most people? They're scared. They're like, you know what? I'll put $100 there. $100. Right? Say, okay, I'll do 1,000. So again, it's it happens slowly, and then all at once. That's just how the market works, psychology-wise, right? And so as a person who's been here for a while, you really have to gauge the energy in the room, in a sense, right? And so again, that's why I have my own strategy, right? To cover the whole everything. If MOAS happened, right, I have my 250 shares forever until the end of time type thing, right? And then the rest, I truly think it's gonna go to 1,000, at some point. And so I'm gonna wait for that. And then the rest, that's why the rest I would just play. Yes, of course, if it goes up here and here and here, at $100, I will trim some, right? At $100, yeah, I will trim some, right? Just go ladder there. And when it hit 1,000, right, that's where my, big bags there to trigger, I used to have a sell order, to like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, just in case it happened. But again, like, that's not gonna, trigger until the S&P 500 type thing. But in the meantime, of course, yes, I'm willing to, part some here and there. Just again, try to beat the market here, beat my own psychology. Am I smart enough to accumulate more shares, or all of that too? So, but going back to Ryan Cohen, I feel like, he's not going to do anything drastic with that money at all. And so, but I really think that he is, really focusing on the fundamental of the company to try to scale it, to the point where they're able to operate smoothly, and eventually we're gonna, use that money to expand the footprint of GME when it makes sense. When the economy is starting to open up again, if they could close this amount of stores, right, they could technically open, maybe moving forward, using the interest that he's able to accrue, instead of buying Bitcoin, right? Why not just open up a business? I mean, open up new stores in a different area. But currently, I'm telling you, the reason why they have to cut costs drastically, and that was the best decision ever, okay? Best decision in terms of, like, operational wise. Because look at the layoffs, okay? Look at the economy. It's contracting, okay? Yes, eventually it's gonna, inflate it the other way. With this bill and all that stuff, I'm sure it's going to increase the GDP, apparently, 1% more or something like that. But again, what is the cost of doing that? The cost is middle class, poor is gonna, take the hit eventually. That's why, again, if you know that now, like 10 years from now, you're gonna be able to kind of position yourself because you know that the inflation is going to go higher. They're going to tell you it's 2%, but it's like more like 5, right? Or 3 or 4, right? And so that's why, again, it heals slowly. But anyway, so if you own some type of business, like, equity, GameStop can do well in that environment, right? Because people are going to feel like, oh, they have to spend. Like, if I don't spend this money is not going to be there in 10 years, type thing. No, I don't think people think it that way. I mean, if anything, they would feel like the rat race, that no matter what they're doing, they're not doing enough, to even survive here. So that's just the, overall economy here. Okay, market beats say both of them. Oh, okay. Sold shares, and for what purpose? Probably taxes, right? I know he has a lot more money than all of us, but will he still buy Bitcoin? Not sure. Not sure. I mean, we me speculating. It really depends on. I mean, I'm sure they have like a advisor, investment advisor board that knows, the market direction here. And so with that amount of money, right, I don't think he's going to be risking so much, which is evident at how much he's actually buying now. At the time, it was 10%. So now that we have more money, I'm sure he's going to add 10%. Maybe 10% of the company's balance sheet is going to go into Bitcoin. Or the strategy could just be making people pissed, right? Pissed, trapping more and more short. I mean, look at the short interest. Like, if you look at Intel short interest, right? That could be another strategy too, you guys. Like, I'm thinking, is to piss people so much that pretty soon, okay, what if we just buy our own stock back at some point? You see how within 2 convertible nodes, he's able to trap set 20% of shorts, okay, to be in this position here. That's a lot, you guys. That's the highest short interest ever. I mean, I know people are like, what is she talking about? Highest, like it used to be 200%. Remember, they changed the way that they account for short interest. So this is a, even if it's a true short interest, this is actual short interest, it's still high, you guys. Like 20%, are you kidding me? With the company that makes money, with the company that, is going to make more money, with the company that have this amount of cash, you want to bet against this company. Okay, come on in, right? And again, Ryan Cohen has a strategy. He said it on the interview. We're gonna go by our own strategy. So the strategy is to piss people off. Piss people off, the shareholder and the like, right? Of course. And eventually, if you don't believe in the strategy, right, you're gonna short it to the point where, oh, now you have way too much short, so now you have to buy it back at a very, very, explosive way here. Because if not, you're gonna, whoever short this company will feel it. So who knows? You might be just loading But yes, I mean, short's gonna, win for now. For now. So they only have a short period of time. Remember, if you short some company, you only have an extended period of time. Eventually, you're gonna have to buy it back. For every short position you have to go long at some point. Okay. Whether you go long at a gain right here, right? Again, for you to make money, stock price has to come down. And the lower they could get it, right? Yes, they can technically gain some if they sell, right? If they get people to sell it to them at that price. But that's going to entice more people to buy into the company at this price range, right? The lower, the better for people who see the value here. Okay. So who knows? I mean, are they able to get it down? But if you look at this indicator, right, bankers fund trajectory, they're loading over here. Okay, they're loading over here. So also too, remember, if institution wants to buy more, what do they typically do? They typically put the price down, or drop the price down so that their orders could feel more. And so eventually, this right here, institutional ownership. Hold on one second. The institutional ownership is going to be higher than 40%. So this is FinTel. I know some other account is like 33%. I think Larry Chain put that on his page. Tracking institutional ownership, 33%. That's what I remember. So he just signaling, it's like, hey, watch for institutional ownership. It's going to increase over time. No worries. Institutions gonna come more and more now. And so retail's gonna, like, those institutions will buy retail, conviction. Like, depends, right? If you think that this company is gonna be able to deliver you a lot of value here, you're gonna stick around and find out, right? And so the trick is to bore you to death and to make you believe that there's no value here because the price doesn't move. Okay. And of course, that sentiment is going to also be spread out among, market participant out there. And so they're less likely to pay attention to GME. So now their attention is diverted to, like, meme coins out there. So when retail come back from that hype, that's when they're, reveal to you that, oh, hey, so-and-so just bought 100 million shares of GME, or so-and-so just owned, they buy quietly, but then when they owned it, they would profitize it. They would go on the news. It's like, oh yeah, actually we own this much position of da-da-da-da, right? And that's when the stock price starting to move. It's unfortunate that they are able to do that quietly without, cluing in retail. But that's why retails always lose out, is because they're too impatient. I mean, how do I know that? I am guilty of that too. I don't stay put that long, see what I mean? On my trading account. Again, that's why I developed my. It's all experience here, you guys. Like, that's why I do what I do, and hopefully people realize that it's more than just, luck here, okay? Because eventually people gonna tell you that, oh, you're lucky, that you bought XRP at this price. Oh, you're lucky because this and that, right? What they don't realize is the stress of holding it, right? I know. Just holding something is not a stress, but again, there the uncertainty and doubts. With XRP, for the longest time, people are telling XRP holder that you're an idiot. You're like, why are you buying into the coins that doesn't do anything, right? But if you believe in the technology, of course, at some point it's going to be useful. So now people are like, oh yeah, $2, right? I remember it was like 15 cents. I bought it then. Wish I would buy more, have more conviction in that, right? But I'm human. Like, I still am fearful of that not coming true, right? Even though I have that conviction. But again, you have to protect your conviction sometime. And sometimes, yeah, people will question you. People will make you question why would you hold on to something that the masses hasn't, caught on to yet. And so the stress is coming from people just doesn't understand, until you see the result, then people will understand you more. Then people are like, oh my God, it's like, you're my friend. I'm glad that you did that. But that might be 10 years from now, you guys, or for Jimmy here. So, not to say it will be 10 years, not at all. I'm just saying I'm prepared for at least 7 more years, because when I bought it was like 4 years ago. See what I mean? That's why I say 10 years. Okay, look, Daniel Moore. Okay, cool. Okay, so they did buy more? Is that what you're saying? Buy more or selling? Are they selling? 100,000. Okay. I believe he had Bitcoin as a buffer to protect the company while his executive executing his plan. But I don't see him doing strategy by buying big blocks of Bitcoin. Yeah, again, like, he has his own strategy, you guys. Like, he said it was a hedge, just in case it take on the capitalization of gold eventually. So in which case it's going to be 5x from here, because gold right now is like about $14 trillion market cap. So if you divide that by whatever the market cap of Bitcoin is now, yeah, it's about 5 times that. But remember, if they're keeping printing money willy-nilly here, you're gonna see more gold becoming like, what, 20 trillion, right? And so if eventually Bitcoin could take a portion of that, like maybe equal in value as gold, you're gonna see a $20 trillion. Okay, so 10x from here. That's why people are saying $1 million Bitcoin this cycle. It's not far-fetched at all, right? And then again, with the popularity, with the scarcity, with all of that, it could really go higher than that too. A lot, guys, like, I truly feel that with Jimmy leadership, they covered every angle here, you guys, to maintain the value that they have right now. So this amount of money will never leave their will never go down in value. It could only go up from here. Now you could argue like, okay, how slow is it going to go up to? It's like, is it only by 5%? It's like, and people scoff at that 5%. It's like, oh, it doesn't even beat inflation and all that stuff, right? But remember, if it compounded every year, it's going to beat inflation. It's just slower than what you like it to beat inflation. And then with the, booster of Bitcoin here, obviously, that's gonna, have some percentage of growth built into that, right? Every year. So if this grow every 60% every year, like Michael Saylor is saying, then this, with just this amount alone, even if they don't add anymore, you would still, have some value there. Okay. So my point is, it can never go down in value, right? Not Bitcoin. I'm saying GME, the shareholder equity. Because remember, we don't burn any cash in the operational sense anymore. We used to, now we don't. Okay. I believe, okay, you said that all that money for when the market tank could buy a lot of companies. Yes, I mean, that's also another play too. Again, you guys, like, we have so many options to do whatever or to not do whatever. It's like we could just sit here and not doing anything and still make money. That's powerful, you guys. Really. Or just keep on issuing, convertible notes at a higher and higher strike price. So all of the gamblers out there, whether it's the bondholders, whether the people that are, try to, blow somebody's out of existence. You think that the institution out there doesn't know who's shorting this? They're probably waiting for the opportunity to, remember, you guys, there are a lot of institutions out there who hate what Citadel is doing, who hate what Virtu Capital is doing. And so this could be the battle between those institutions here, okay, that have so much power, over the retail market cornering. And so they're competing with each other. So with that competition, right? Okay, if they see the weakness, like, who's shorting this company to oblivion? All it takes is just one whale to do that. Okay, so now we have Rowan Kitty as well as a whale. I mean, yeah, he's a small little fish here in terms of, like, this big institution that have hundreds of billions of dollars. And so, but to do that, it has to make sense to them. Like I said, it has to make sense to them that the balance sheet is big enough, is solid enough for them to pour more money into it. Okay. So, yeah, it's coming, you guys. Like, I'm not worried about that at all. What makes me happy is that the shorts are trapped. So it's only a matter of time before the hell, yeah. I mean, or they're just waiting. It's not that they're trapped. It's just that, okay, well, right now I only have $4 billion to, let it explode. So let me just, let me just use that $4 billion on something else, and hopefully it's going to grow. And then, again, they make these choices. They think that this risk is not worth addressing it right now, right? So that could also happen. The reward of them closing their position right now is not big enough, right, for them to close the position. Maybe they're waiting on the market to tank as well so that the shares of GameStop will go down in price. That's when they're more profitable for them to close, right? So they have tools to see those things, you guys. So don't be so one-sided to say that they're trapped in some way. I mean, I don't think they want to be in this situation either. But if they could close at a better price, they will, so that they lose less money than they originally thought. So yeah, again, they have a strategy to unwind this as quickly as possible as well. So that's why you see this short burst of price explosion here that makes no sense, and then retail got caught, you know, without any value added to retail here. And I'm sure retail would be enticed to buy into call here, lose a lot of money. Right? The same way over here, remember, there were a lot of money being lost here, thinking that with this earnings, right? If this is the earnings going to send it over. No. Even if it's the earnings that's going to send it over, market makers have the ability to drop it the other way. The incentive for them to send it higher, it's not for them. That's why if you have the control, right, over the flow of orders, of course you're going to send it the other way. It's not beneficial for you to go it up, to put it up there. You would lose money. So market maker, tank it so that they either lose less money because by the time that they're able to send it higher like this, most retail would not be able to capture this. And since they know that at some point it's going to explode the other way, they're going to buy calls, right? They're going to buy call either from retail or from, from other market participant, right? Or just, again, have a way for them to hedge without owning the share even. Okay. Remember the swap, whatever they're doing with those swaps, right? They have the ability to enter to the agreement with the counterparty without owning the underlying stock. Yeah, it happens. So they would make money the other way too. So, but again, the underlying issue is still present here. Somebody is trapped. Someone is, right? Because they wouldn't be spending so much time trashing on this company if someone is not trapped, for sure. We just don't know who, right? People think that it's market maker, of course, like, Citadel and all that stuff. But who knows? It might be different people, different hedge fund, some, swaps that we don't know about. It's all hidden somewhere, you guys. The same thing happened with Tesla. I know, yeah. I mean, people compare Tesla a lot, so I agree with that too. It's all hidden. At some point, it's gonna come out. But by the time it comes out, right, people are gonna be like, "Oh, retail is at it again," right? When we've been here the whole time, right? Like, oh, all those basement dweller people. Remember that guy who comes out? I forgot his name. Some fund manager. He's he's the one that not Michael Pachter. No, it's the Lee guy. Something Lee. He's always like stay away from GameStop. All of these people who are trading this meme stock. He's emphasizing like the whole meme thing. But yeah, people will do that. Do you think they will keep trying to short GameStop for the next 2 to 7 years, knowing deep in the hole? Of course, they will do the best that they can to survive for one more day, for one more year. They know that the liquidity is coming to the market, right? Because of Trump, big beautiful bill, and so they have no incentive to do the right thing here unless they have the money to unwind it. So maybe that was the solution for them, to inflate the market so high that they could pay for their mistake here. And so they're letting everybody pay for that through inflation. Okay. And they've been doing that for quite some time, you guys. Like, again, the people up top, they have the ability, ways to navigate their mistakes. Okay. The mistake is they've been inflating the economy for so long. So that's why people are struggling. Even though how hard you work, you cannot keep up with the inflation unless you understand that money, as you know it, doesn't have any value. And so people who understand that, positioning themselves so well that they become billionaires, that they become millionaires just by just holding something. Just like what Michael Saylor explained in his interview with what that guy, Peter something, Peter, not Peter Schiff, some guy from Canada, from Canada. He explains like during COVID, there was two group of people who lose money. Not two group. There was one group that lose money and one group that makes money. And the group that makes money are the people that own something, own stocks, own, some building. While the people that lose money are the people that works with their hand, okay, building the company from the ground up, and because inflation, the money printing, remember they print 40% worth of money, just slushing during that time. And then people were like, oh, they don't do anything. They just sit on TV doing nothing. Their network went up in value. Jeff Bezos, right, his network went up 40%. Right, crazy. And then people were, well, he's owning business and right? Okay, right, whatever. But without that money printing, right, that the shares that he has right now, that he's selling $10 billion at a time here, would have gone down $1 billion, right? I know people would have been like, oh my gosh, like he lose so much money. It's like, well, it's paper money. Unless you sell, you're not gonna be able to capture that value. Why do you think billionaires like selling in droves here? Like if they believe in their company, they wouldn't be selling. They would be buying, like Ryan Cohen right now, buying it up. Because they didn't believe in their company's gonna go any further. Okay. So that's why, again, Bitcoin has been such a topic for Saylor to go out there and tell people. Like, hey, all you have to do just, understand this one thing, that money that you own right now is inflated at 7% a year, even though they tell you 2% a year. Okay, so anyway, that's like my original talk here. It's about inflation, but I end up just going. But it's all tied you guys, it all tied back to um, if you own something, you will be doing fine. Okay. But for people who are unfortunately living paycheck to paycheck, they're not going to want to save. Okay. And then again, they get blamed by society that, well, because you're so lazy, that's why you're unable to save. Why not go to work? Well, there's a lot of them who have kids. I mean, look at how tough it is to have people watching your kid. Daycare. Now, thank goodness I'm single. I'm not, I'm not with family yet. But I can't imagine having a kid right now. With all the money, and I know it's rewarding, right? I know a lot of people who have kids too. They say, it's well worth it, but man, it's tough, right? It's doable. I'm not saying it's not doable, but I'm saying that it becomes less and less of a reach right now, where people are unable to afford the life that they want and the life for their kids. Because for the last few decades here, people before us didn't have to make any tough choices. And the tough choices is not to print money to inflate to oblivion, right? Because you know that is not going to work for the middle class here. You could scold them to oblivion to say like, well, why don't you learn about Bitcoin? It's like, okay, well, again, fear. Why don't you learn about GME? Why don't you, it's like you cannot blame people to be like, so in tune, so obsessed, so, because they have their life to live. And most people are not privy to that at all. And so unless you're Michael Saylor, like so obsessed with, okay, well, I need to find a place to store value in my company here, because otherwise, like he was explaining, it was 0% rate, like right now. If with that $8 billion that we have in the company, let's just say we're unable to, like the government don't give you much, right? At the time, U.S. Treasury bond was the only way for these company, for this company to, at least the safest way for the company to make money was U.S. Treasury bond. And if at the time they only pay you 0%, that money will be melting, right? Like he was saying, it's a melting ice cube of $500 million at the time. He had $500 million at the time. And, he's watching it going down in value, because every year, if you don't spend it, right, spend it. Of course, they want you to spend. The government want you to spend, or whoever, the Federal Reserve want you to spend that money into the economy so that it prop up the economy for their asset to go higher, right? Even though their asset doesn't have anything to back up, right? Their company doesn't, produce 60% more in production. No, because it's too big. Apple didn't make any more, iPhone at the time, producing like 60% of all of a sudden. No, it's just a function of them printing money to prop it up. So the asset in which you buy into, it's way too expensive already. So you want like younger people to buy it up in order to buy it up, to keep the price up. That's it. So the value that you got from that won't be enough, right? So let's say Brian Cohen have to buy Nvidia at this price, right? Buy the market up. How much do you think like the risk of it falling down is much higher than the risk of it going up if you're not buying it? I hope that makes sense. So it's not advantageous for Ryan Cohen to deploy that cash in the market right now. Right. Now, the best way to do it is to, right now, because the government pays this much, it's deemed as safe. Okay. Unless, again, the US government go bust. Okay. Not able to pay their servicing their debt. Okay. Eventually that's going to happen, right? Now, hopefully, this pivot into Bitcoin treasury or Bitcoin reserve ploy is a ploy. I wouldn't say ploy, but that's one of the solution that this government has thought of. Okay, so he's telling you what to buy essentially. Why do you think they're so quick to pass the stablecoin bill? Because they see value in it. They see that, okay, that's the only way for them to hold the treasury bond, because the treasury bond is the one that is in trouble right now, because nobody is willing to buy the government debt anymore. Okay, yes, we have treasury bond here, and look for Form 4. Okay, but yeah, let me finish this point real quick. So anytime when there's partisan, moving so quickly to do something, that's usually, they are in unison, wanting you to, at least they're pointing it to you that, hey, digital, this is important. This is the only way that we could solve that, to get people to buy into the government debt, because whoever issuing the stablecoin, they have to buy the treasury bond, so that's high. But that's also a Trojan horse too, right? For I don't know how much they thought out that. That's gonna pour money into Bitcoin, okay? Because if you have digital dollars, you still don't solve the, inflation, the inflation problem. You still have the inflation problem, and so more and more people will be converting to dollars. Yes, dollars going to be stronger because the whole world is going to be able to have access to this. So if you live in, I don't know, some other country that burns money quicker, their local currency, you could convert it to dollar, right? And that dollars, if you trust the dollar, right, or trust the U.S. government from other country, of course you're going to stay in dollar. So dollar is going to be, more and more beneficial for that. But still, you still don't, you can't control the U.S. government from overspending either. So right now, they're, with this bill, it's going to add $3 trillion to the national debt. So it's inflating in 10%, from its current state. So what does that say? What does that tell you? It tells you that inflation might be around 10% right there. Okay. Now that's over 4 years, I think, right? Over, this fiscal year or something like that. But so 10% divided by 4, what is that? So that's the inflation right there. That's not to count what the rest of the world is doing. Okay. So again, my point is Bitcoin's gonna go higher. Jimmy's gonna do fine. And we're all gonna be rich because of inflation. That's it. There you go. In a nutshell. Okay, let me go look at Form 4 real quick, because I want to see what Guy is talking about here. Well, can I just go to GameStop investor relation? Okay, will it be there? Okay, SEC filing. Documents. Okay, statement. Change of beneficiary. Okay, we got here. Okay. Filing. I see 2 new filing yesterday. Is that what I'm talking about? Okay, form 4. Alright. So he's selling. Oh, awarded. These shares represent restricted units of reported. These shares are scheduled to vest it. Okay, so installment beginning on, oh, sorry. So I guess, oh, I'm getting hungry. I think A means awarded shares, right? So apparently they got awarded shares, some shares there. Buying a lot. Is it buying? Well, I think that's awarded. Is this the one you're talking about? Okay. So he sold some here. Only 1,000. For taxes, maybe? I don't know. So sell doesn't represent any discretionary. Okay. Withhold taxing. Yeah, this is for tax purposes. But the one up top here is granted. So it's a rewarded share for the board. But it is restricted to vest 8 equal quarterly installments beginning. So quarterly, he will be receiving this amount until July 2027. So technically, he doesn't receive this all at once. It's a 8 quarterly installment. So each time he would get, if I'm doing this correctly, each quarter he will get 10,000 or $11,000. 11,000 shares, sorry, rewarded to him. I don't know if they're restricted from selling it immediately. But yeah, so I mean, now they have been adding value to the company, so that's why they get some rewarded shares there. And I think it's well deserved, right? It's not like somebody who just sit and invested and not doing anything for the shareholder here. So, but also too, they're not selling either, I feel. Okay, that's one. And the second one here, what's that? That's just different style of filing. Okay, that's one. Let's look at the other one. Okay, this is another one here. Okay, so this is also another awarded shares. They're not buying anything. They sell some for tax purposes, I'm sure. Okay. So tax withholding. So this gentleman's gonna be 7 equal quarters installment beginning next year. Okay, so this one has a little bit less shares, but I guess it depends on what they do for the company. I'm sure, some got more than other, or how long they've been there for. Who knows? But yeah, so total amount of shares right now for this individual would be 50,000 shares um, by the end of July 27. I think well deserved for sure. You know, like they did wait for a long time to get, to get to the. Okay, so July 1st price is this much. I wonder where when they come up with this price here. Mm, yeah, I wonder why it's so high. But they sold at this price here. Maybe last quarter, before they issued the convertible notes. Okay, okay. Well, the point is that they have this many shares. I mean, the price again, you could wait until they sell it, right? And they'll realize that gain or loss or whatever. But maybe when they issue it before the convertible notes, they were able to capture this price here. So there. So the idea is that insider are now gaining more ownership of the company. So instead of 13%, for example, now it's going to be 15%. Again, just inching slowly. So with the institutional ownership versus insider ownership, it gains more and more. I guess shares of companies that are locked up that are not retail owned. So again, strengthening people, like either other institution who's trying to build a position here into GameStop more and more. It makes the company more legit in the eyes of these fund managers, right? All right, guys, I am so hungry right now. I don't know. I did not eat this morning, so I know I've been kind of babble for a long time about Bitcoin, about inflations. Really, you guys, like if you want to learn about inflation, right? Got to learn, you know, uh, how Bitcoin is the only way, to save your value here. Is it the only way? No, no, no. I mean, some people buy physical gold. Okay. Some people, buy stocks. Some people buy whatever to try to again make sure that you are able to earn something uh, or take advantage of this, money printing scheme over here. That's the only way for you to get ahead is to hopefully outperforms, right? Either the market or return enough so that you're not falling behind because of the inflation. All right, guys, I am out. I'm pooped out of ideas, of words, of anything, right? I'm just telling you what I think here. In my opinion, company's doing well. It has asset. It has all of the flavors that you need in the company for sure. Um, Up to you. Yeah, to do your thing, to educate yourself, to at least have a thought of your own. Yes, listen to people. Yes, listen to all of the opinions out there of the ways that you could grow your wealth in that sense. What best fit for you. Okay. Don't always listen to one person and then that's it, right? Unless you really like their goal is aligned with you, in that sense. So yeah, do your thing, be safe, okay? And happy 4th of July. Like I said, don't go drink and drive. If you have to drink, then take Uber or something. That's what Uber is for, okay? Or call a friend. You don't have money to afford any Uber. But anyway, all right. Peace.